Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Welcome to update number 3 on our fantasy player rankings for 2010. 4 main things that we wanted to cover for this update is going to be Clinton Portis versus Larry Johnson for the starting role in Washington. Chris Johnson looks like he's getting a new, or at least an updated contract. Ed Reed and Mario Manningham and Hakeem Nicks, the battle between those two this coming summer. Okay, let's start with Portis and Johnson. Last month, I did talk about the fact that it looked like Larry Johnson was going to be the starter for the Redskins. It now looks like Mike Shanahan is willing to let Clinton Portis be the starter. Obviously, he challenged Portis this offseason to get into better shape. They needed to see how he held up physically off of the injury, the head injury that he had a year ago. I guess it does make sense if Portis is physically healthy enough, which is what they're saying, that he would be the starter. As far as fantasy owners, really, if you're going to get him at all, even with both of these guys, get him really cheap. Because with Portis, when you have head injuries, boy, that's just not a good thing. And at any time, you take one hard hit to the head and you're out. Keep that in mind. I still think down the stretch, I don't think Portis is going to hold up even if he starts. That might make Johnson a decent option in the second half of the season as a waiver wire pickup, but we'll have to keep our eyes on that, and that's the update there. The next one is Chris Johnson. Much has been made about his holdout this offseason. I'm not usually big, as I said before, with holdouts like this in May, June, because most of the time these guys end up getting back to camp and they end up playing. Sometimes you do see it linger into the, really close to the season or even a week or two in, but looks like the Titans are in the works to restructure a contract deal with Chris. It's not going to be the big splash contract that he wants, but it is going to give him, I think, he was making $500,000 for this year, and maybe he's going to make about $2.5–3 million. It's amazing how he can only make that much. So it looks like he should be out there. The point is for that, I think as long as this does go through, Adrian Peterson, really good player. Maurice Jones-Drew, really good player. Chris Johnson is the number 1 pick in all fantasy formats there, okay? Don't fool yourself. Next one we're talking about here is Ed Reed. This is big news. Ed, he obviously talked about after the season that he was saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to come back. I might retire. He ended up coming back to the team. He didn't participate in OTAs, but now it looks like he may start the season on the PUP list this year. So obviously IDP owners, Ed is more of a big play type IDP league in and of itself because it doesn't rack up a lot of tackles. So now he could probably miss the first 6 games of the year. It's not official yet, but it very well may happen. That obviously is a ding to the Ravens' team defense. It's definitely not a killer of any sort, but it doesn't help them out as he's a ball hawk that can make plays. So we may have to tail back the Ravens a couple notches. We did have them number 1 or number 2 for a team defense to take this year. We were high on them. Good defense, but we may have to tail it back just a little bit because of Ed Reed being gone. So keep that in mind in IDP and standard leagues. And the final thing that we wanted to talk about today is it does look like that Hakeem Nicks and Mario Manningham are entrenched in a battle this summer coming into camps. So we're going to have to keep our eye on this particular battle, this situation, because whoever comes out the winner should be a good, viable fantasy option early in the season. I would bet that Hakeem Nicks should win that role just because he's the better receiver. Manningham had a lot of problems with drop balls last year, and, he is going to be just in his 3rd season as well, but Nicks, hey, he's the guy. They drafted him in the 1st round, and it's not like he's been that much of a disappointment or anything. He had a pretty good rookie season last year, so I would expect him to win, but again, we're going to have to see how this shakes out. And hopefully we can get some resolution with this before your draft day. But keep that in mind as we're moving closer to the beginning of the season.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football with your free